Good morning and welcome to NASNPRO TV, our live education event today. My name is Sonia Barrow Conerly and I am with Cosmedix. Today I will be speaking on pigmentation, hyperpigmentation. And before I start, I'd like to thank NASNPRO for their commitment to education and for providing a platform for the aesthetic industry. The goal of today's presentation is to give you some further insight onto what is hyperpigmentation, some of its causes and types, and various treatments available to you, the professional. Thank you. With that being said, we are going to get started. The medical term associated with hyperpigmentation is the appearance of darker patches on areas of the skin that makes the appearance look darker. Usually the areas that are more exposed to ultraviolet light is where the discoloration becomes obviously more prevalent. It is a very common skin disorder, usually characterized as not being harmful, but this is not always the case. When it comes to determining what type of pigmentation we are looking at, in order to establish a cause, it is first important to do a thorough consultation. The main cause of pigmentation concerns usually falls into certain categories, either due to chemical substance, hormonal changes, vitamin deficiencies, and trauma. In order to become more familiar with the type of hyperpigmentation that you may be treating, usually hormonal pigmentation is going to be found in the center area of the face. Sun damage is usually located around the outside areas of the face and the hairline, the arms, hands, ears, scalp, and areas where UV exposure will take its toll in time. Also are going to be areas where hyperpigmentation can be prevalent. Without proper protection, meaning without wearing an SPF, sunglasses, a sun hat, eventually that damage will show in time. We will start to see an uptake in pigmentation concerns because the ozone protective layer is being depleted and the more UV rays are getting through to the earth, and therefore that increase in melanin production is going to require the continued preaching, for lack of different word to use, the importance of sun care and sun protection. A tan, of course, is caused from sun exposure, and then a change in pigmentation occurs because melanin is produced as a defense mechanism against UV radiation. Melanin is a part of the skin's barrier defense system, and it is what protects us from UV exposure, and pigmented blemishes are usually the result of excessive stimulation by sunlight. When you see a tan forming on your skin, it's usually a first indication and warning from the body to let you know that you have received far too much sun damage already. UV radiation hits unprotected skin, then goes through an oxidative stress. That oxidative stress then starts to create a decrease in self-protection, and that ultimately leads to cell damage. Genetics can play a role in the development of melasma, and it is more common in women than in men. Hyperpigmentation can also be an indication of certain illnesses, such as an autoimmune disease, a metabolic disorder, or, like I said, some sort of vitamin deficiency. Certain medications like chemotherapy drugs, antibiotics, and anti-seizure medication can also cause hyperpigmentation. Fitzpatrick skin types 3 and higher are more at risk for the development of melasma. Chloasma and melasma mean the same thing, and the terms are both describing hormonal pigmentation due to pregnancy, photosensitive medication, and birth control. Quite often you will find the terms are interchangeable. Melasma usually has a balanced appearance and is commonly seen in the forehead, the upper lip, on the cheeks, the chin, and is also known as liver spots. It appears on the skin as large brown patches. When trauma plays a role in the pigmentation disorder, usually it is an odd shape, perhaps where surgery had taken place, or a bad waxing incident, or even a bad microderm incident, or an unfortunate chemical peel incident where the skin was not properly taken care of prior to the treatment. Quite often, you can see a poor waxing job leave its marks behind on the upper lip, and it is usually an irregular shape of some sort. Post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation due to skin that has been damaged can cause a darkened pigmentation. The melanin pigment in post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation may be located in the epidermis, which is easier to treat, or sometimes travel into the papillary dermis. It is a result of an injury that has broken the dermal-epidermal junction. Post-inflammatory pigmentation is not just about picking an acne lesion. It can also stem from an allergic reaction, a burn or bruising, and inflammatory skin disease. Take, for example, eczema or even a dermatitis. Lupus is an autoimmune disease. When the body's immune system attacks its own tissue and organs, it can attack many systems in the body. And the skin being one of those systems, lupus can cause dark, scaly raised patches on the face, and over time may develop skin that is darker than your own natural skin color. Diabetes can also present on the skin due to excess insulin. It causes normal skin cells to reproduce at a much faster rate. As estheticians, we often look at hyperpigmentation and immediately start thinking about treatment and not first determining the cause to make sure we can provide the right treatment. Please take the time to dig a little further to understand exactly what is causing that hyperpigmentation, and then you go forward with the right care. The enzyme tyrosinase plays a role in melanin synthesis. We are going to be discussing skin cells responsible for pigment. With the enzyme tyrosinase, and we understand that it does play a role in melanin synthesis, it also kickstarts the amino acid tyrosine. It is a copper-containing enzyme present in plant as well as animal tissues that is really the catalyst of production of melanin and other pigments from tyrosine by oxidation. Granules of melanin are found in the melanosome and are synthesized from the amino acid tyrosine through the action of the enzyme tyrosinase, as well as L-dopa and dopaquinone, which is a precursor of melanin. Eventually, what happens is eumelanin is formed, and that is your brown to black pigment, and pheomelanin, in which is your yellow to red pigment, and the primary pigment found in your red-headed individuals is produced. It is usually during this process when most of our skin brighteners work. They do this by preventing the action or process of the enzyme tyrosinase. The enzyme tyrosinase needs an oxidizing atmosphere to work, and this is why antioxidants like your ascorbic acid becomes effective. If you can block tyrosinase, you reduce the action of forming pigment granules, melanin, and achieve a skin brightening effect. Melanocytes are found in the stratum germativum, and they are the cells that produce pigment granules in the basal layer. There are approximately 5 to 10% of the basal cells are melanocyte cells. They are allowed to catch on and transfer to your keratinocytes, which are your primary type of cell found in the epidermis. Melanosomes are the pigment-carrying granules that produce a complex protein called melanin. The body produces two types of melanin. Those with more melanin-enriched skin produce eumelanin, which is a dark brown to black pigment, and the more melanin-enriched skin tone has, it contains approximately 200 melanosomes per keratinocyte, and therefore they are definitely more prone to hyperpigmentation. The more fair skin tones have approximately 20 melanosomes per keratinocyte and are more at risk and more prone to cancer. Although, please understand that all Fitzpatrick's 1 through 6 can have issues with pigmentation. Your keratinocytes help to regulate the function of melanocytes through proliferation, differentiation, and melanogenesis. Melanocytic dendrite is the name of the dendrites of the melanocyte. A dendrite is a short extension of a nerve cell that receives stimulation in order for the cell to become more active and actually function. The purpose of melanogenesis is to protect the basal layer of the skin by producing melanin in response to sun exposure. Hormonal changes and trauma to the skin can also stimulate this process. The pathway from trauma to hyperpigmentation really is as follows. Tyrosinase enzyme converts the tyrosine amino acid. The chemical reaction stimulates the melanocytes to create melanin within the melanosome cells. Melanosome cells are transferred via key proteins to the keratinocytes. The keratinocytes are filled with melanosomes and migrate up to the stratum corneum surface layer to be visible and eventually shed off in time. When we speak on melanogenesis, that is always the constant production of pigmentation being made. As noted, melanin production is stimulated by your ultraviolet exposure and begins by a protein called pro-opipelacortin, also known as your POMC, which is stimulated by the pituitary gland and is a precursor to the melanin stimulating hormone. One thing that is consistent is the UV exposure, and we have to constantly be remembered the importance of sunscreen and your sun protection. Now we're going to focus on ingredients to help safely brighten the skin, ingredients that can inhibit tyrosinase enzyme, and ingredients that can block the transfer of melanosome cells to keratinocytes. First of all, let's start talking about vitamin C. L-ascorbic acid. In cosmetics, vitamin C interferes with the production of melanin by interacting with copper ions in the active site of tyrosinase to reduce the multi-step melanin synthesis production. L-ascorbic acid is a topical that is able to protect, repair, and enhance the overall appearance of the skin. It assists in protecting the skin against sun damage and reduces hyperpigmentation and evens out the skin tone. Palmaria palmata is said to help brighten brown spots on the skin, and the ingredient limits the transport of melanosomes while controlling photo-induced pigmentation. Witheria leaf extract and ferulic acid help to improve discoloration of the skin due to hyperpigmentation, acne scars, as well as sun damage. And niacinamide specifically blocks and slows the transfer of the melanosome into the keratin cells. Niacinamide also helps to improve the overall barrier of our skin and is able to, in higher concentrations, break down pigmentation deposits below the surface. The most successfully tested methods to reduce hyperpigmentation in the skin include inhibiting melanin production, blocking that transfer of melanosomes, and increasing the rate of skin turnover to shed pigment-filled keratinocytes. Now, ingredients that help to increase skin turnover via exfoliation is going to be L-lactic acid. We know L-lactic acid not only can help hydrate the skin, but it's going to help to speed up that cell turnover, along with your salicylic acid, malic acid, and tartaric acid. They all have the ability to help shed surface pigmentation that we can see with the naked eye. The pigmentation that you cannot see with the naked eye, that's when you're going to dive in more into your L-ascorbic acid, into your niacinamide, so you can have longevity in the treatment of your pigmentation concerns. Now, depending on the type of hyperpigmentation we may be treating, there are various options for you in which to perhaps want to take a peek into. Depending on the type of laser being used to target and get rid of pigmentation, you have to understand that different lasers are going to target either melanin or water in order to penetrate the skin and heat up those targeted areas and destroy them. It is important that when considering any type of laser treatment that you go to a licensed professional to guarantee, well, you can't guarantee, but to really hope that they are going to take a good look at what's going on, your root cause, and then continue from there. What happens during this process is any areas being targeted that are darker on the skin, they get even darker, flake, and eventually fall off. If one of the lasers being used to target a pigmentation concern is the wrong laser chosen, well, then not only does the area targeted stay darker and get darker, you now have even more pigmentation that you have to deal with. One of the greatest benefits about getting a chemical peel is its ability to target discoloration on the face through multiple treatments, and you can get great success in doing so. The role that the esthetician plays is equally as important as the role that the client will play. When treating any sort of pigmentation, the client must be as committed to their treatment as you are. When we start looking at doing chemical peels for corrective work through pigmentation, when we get into our higher Fitzpatrick skin types, the importance of what you do prior to the treatment itself is vital. Yes, a tyrosinase inhibitor is key because, as stated, the key is we want to make sure that we are slowing down communications between that tyrosinase enzyme and that melanocyte cell. Because, of course, when those two start talking, melanin popping, and we don't want anything like that to take place. Thus, the name of sometimes a controlled wound. That's how you have to look at a chemical peel. You have to look at it as a controlled wound. Vitamin A is an important ingredient in supporting melanogenesis and reducing hyperpigmentation. All forms of vitamin A work as DNA regulators that help to produce healthy skin cells with collagen, elastin, and better control of melanin within the keratinocyte. Microdermabrasion will gently help to remove the top layer of your skin using a handheld specialized tool. It helps to exfoliate that top layer of the skin, and it will assist in lightening up any surface discoloration, and it will also help to increase the cell turnover. And the nice thing with microdermabrasion is you can pair it with a chemical treatment for some of your clients if they are able to receive that type of combination treatment. Dermabrasion, on the other hand, is a skin resurfacing procedure that uses a rapidly rotating device to remove that outer layer of the skin, and it does wonders on working with age spots. It's going to be best performed on Fitzpatrick skin types 1 through 3. Now, during a dermabrasion treatment, the doctor will first numb the skin with anesthetics, or a doctor might perhaps give you a sedative of some sort. And even in some cases, you can take on a general anesthesia depending on the extent of the treatment that you're going to receive. Just understand that this particular treatment can take up to 3 months to heal, and you have to make sure you're going through processes and asking key questions, or hoping you get key questions asked to you about making sure you don't keloid. And with any of these surfaces, like I say, making sure you're taking the time to go through an extensive client consultation is really important to get the overall success that you're hoping for and to really be on the same page with your client. Now, I would like to take a moment just to talk about why I love NASNPRO. The power of education is priceless. And the more we can equip each other with knowledge in our industry, we demonstrate why deregulating any part of it is a no-go. NASNPRO allows all of us the opportunity to connect and grow. Thank you so much, NASNPRO. And as stated earlier, my name, it is Sonia Barrow Conerly, and I am with Cosmedix. You can see my contact information here on the slide, sbconerly@cosmedix.com, or you can also reach out to me on Instagram, Sonia__ Cosmedix, and I'm on Facebook, Sonia Barrow Conerly. And then last but definitely not least, I also want to do a special live giveaway of the Cosmedix Get the Glow Brightening Boost. And in there you will get some Simply Brilliant 24/7 Brightening Serum and Pure C. And the first person to respond in the Facebook thread is going to win. What exactly is a tyrosinase inhibitor? Please feel free to reach out to me with any questions that you might have. I look forward to hearing from you, and have a great day of learning and a great day of education. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sonia. That was absolutely awesome. A great presentation. So who is listening or who knows the answer? Can you just repeat that question one more time, Sonia?
Yes. What is a tyrosinase inhibitor?
I feel like we need to have the Jeopardy music going on.
Da, 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 da.
Answer that question, and we're singing the Jeopardy call. Cosmedix is a diamond sponsor of NASNPRO this year, and we're so glad that and honored that you guys are with us this year. You give such great information, and if there was one thing you could say about Cosmedix, Sonia, what type of company or what type of products are they? You specialize in what?
We're a botanical plant-based company, and the wonderful thing about Cosmedix is not only are we clean, but we're results-driven, and we are vegan for the most part. A majority of our products are vegan, and especially when you look at the skincare industry as a whole, and people are looking more now for plant-based alternatives. We've been plant-based botanical since 1999. So for over 21 years, we've been that brand, and it's wonderful. Very much results driven.
So when you say clean, what does that mean?
Well, when we talk about being a clean brand, we don't use any sodium lauryl sulfate. We don't use any type of anything that is listed or deemed as being an ugly, being a bad per se. And that's really important for us, because we are in, at this point in time, almost at least 45 different countries. We don't have any formaldehyde derivatives. We don't use any plastics per se in anything that we use. And it really makes a big difference for us to be able to go into these certain countries where their standards of what they consider as clean and ingredients that we can use on our skin become really quite vital.
Great. So
yes,
one of the first answers of your question was
yes,
suppresses melanin on the skin.
What was that?
It suppresses melanin on the skin. Is
yes.
that the answer you were looking
Yes, I'll take that. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Perfect. So then our winner would be Bonnie Altamirano, if I pronounce that right.
All right. So Bonnie, you are the winner. You had the first answer of Sonia's question. And if you want to contact Sonia directly, because she's going to email that out to you, we've put her email so you can, and if there's any other, challenges for whatever reason, then you can also contact me. But you should have Sonia's email, Bonnie, so that you can contact her with your name, tell her that you were listening, you had the correct answer, you were first because you were quick, and if she could send you the Cosmedix Glow Kit. Is that what you're sending, or is it just or it may
I'm
be.
going I'm going to send out the Get the Glow kit, and I would appreciate you for asking why we are unique, why we're different. And like I said, because of us being a plant-based botanical skincare type of line, like we've never had parabens in any of our products from day one, or, your petrolatums or your mineral oils or your sodium lauryl sulfates. We don't use hydroquinone. We've always avoided those particular type of ingredients. And so it's nice because we haven't jumped on a bandwagon to meet what is trend. If anything, we've always been innovative and leaps and bounds ahead of what's going on in the industry to date.
Well, and you know what? Some trends are great and they're lasting,
Yes.
and some trends
Yep.
are dumb. Please don't do that. Every time I see that snake massage, and I'm like, why? I don't want that. No, that's
Yes.
a trend.
Yes.
Snake doesn't want to be on you, and vice versa. So
Exactly. And you know what? The snake, it may behave that day, but humans can be unpredictable. And so if a human can be unpredictable, what do you think an animal can be?
absolutely. So thank you again so much for your presentation.
No
I hope
problem.
you have a wonderful day, and we're going to continue with our education. So NASNPRO members, you are listening. You just finished up watching Sonia from Cosmedix. It's a great presentation. If for some reason you are just coming on board and you missed it, give us a couple of days. We are recording each and every segment so that you can go back to NASNPROtv and watch. We have over 18 segments of great education, from Tasha Chen to Jennifer Bly. She has a great presentation. Also, so there's a lot of different. Danae also has a segment up there. So just make certain that if you are really craving more education, which we all should, there's no charge for this. This is a give back again for just being a member. And there's so many great member rewards and benefits to being a NASNPRO member. So if you have not told your friends or family about NASNPRO, your aesthetic bestie, please make certain to let them know. I think one of everyone's favorite reward is our printing discount from Office Depot. I know it has saved NASNPRO literally thousands of dollars throughout the year. And you can go into NASNPRO.com, go into your member rewards, and you'll be able to follow the links to get that reward. So next up at 10 a.m., we are having Monique Waters. She is a licensed esthetician, a trainer, an educator, and an owner of WU Aesthetics and Academy in South Florida. They offer dermaplaning CEUs. She has a great line called Restore. There's a Restore serum that is wonderful for inhibiting. What am I trying to say? It's to help with your waxing, hair removal. It's a retardant. So Monique, I'm sure she's probably online watching me going, wait, let me tell you. So Monique, if you want to drop some comments about your Restore serum, that and also then at 10 o'clock, she's going to be talking about how to target those ingrown hairs utilizing treatments and products. And I have a feeling she might mention that Restore serum. So make certain you want to ask her about that. But she's an established businesswoman, and you are going to not want to miss that at 10 o'clock. So again, thank you so much for joining us for this segment. If you have not registered yet, so you're tuning in, you're watching this, but you haven't quite taken the next step to register for that swag bag giveaway, we are going to make certain that everyone that's registered, they're the ones that are going to have the opportunity to win a whole bunch of products from the NASNPRO swag bag. That's going to be at 1 o'clock. So we have lots of fun things that we're going to be doing today. Thank you for watching, and go grab a cup of coffee. Maybe, kiss your child, make certain they're doing their classes if they're still on virtual. Maybe take the dog out really quick if it needs to go outdoors. But you have a couple minutes before our 10 o'clock segment with Monique Waters. See you soon.